Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Rig. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're here to purchase a top-end racing simulator. We're here with our client, Bespoke, who, as many of you know, provides simulators that can range from anywhere from 20 up to £50,000. Now, we're not going to be buying one ourselves, but we're going to take you through the journey of buying one so you can kind of see what goes together with these full turnkey products. I'm really excited to see what it looks like, and hopefully you enjoyed the journey with us. So with that said, let's get inside. So Philip, obviously we're here now at Bespoke. We're now going to go through the journey of kind of buying a simulator. Now, obviously I don't have to check the right to buy one today, but I'm hoping we can offer some insight for potential customers or for anyone who wants to know more about, base performance with that, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I mean, as we kind of walk and talk, obviously I'm seeing the whole building, right? It's not just a mismatch of like metal everywhere and LEDs. No. It's a bit of a cliche, but it does kind of feel like everything has a purpose. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was intended. We were originally designed for the driver training.
Yeah.
So predominantly the building's being built around that in mind, and we'll see when we go into the single seater, the GT room, how that all comes together. So I'll do a walkthrough so you can see the space for yourself. We'll start over here. You can have a look at some of the kits being made up, and then we can walk through and you can actually have a taste of what the real sims are.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think the fact that we're going straight to the secret sauce to learn what makes your sims, because obviously all the manufacturing is done in-house, right?
It is. So all our manufacturing is done in-house. So we've got in the workshop today 3 of our simulators, just to give you an idea of kind of how the sales process begins. So when we take inquiries, everything's done from the Bespoke. So all our inquiries that come through, they're not off the shelf, they're not click and collect on your shopping bag, so to speak. And this is where we bring our customers. So even customers from all over the world tend to fly into us, and we create that kind of bespoke journey through to them. And it's very much almost like a white glove service that we offer. Here's our blade. So this is just our kind of basic kit in terms of the pro level in-home simulator that we offer. Comes as standard as black, but you can have it custom made.
Nice.
So depending on what kind of colouring that you want to have in your at-home sim. And then this is our Phoenix. Now this is a simulator that's actually going to New York. Okay. So we had their team fly in late last year so that they could see everything being put into production. Wow. And they chose their colours, their colour palettes, and they're having some bespoke signage put onto it as well. I guess that's the big thing, right, is that people are able to come and almost experience it firsthand, whereas if you buy from elsewhere, it's kind of just a box that turns up and you're left to build it yourself. And it's, I don't know, it kind of feels like, I imagine for a lot of your clientele, this is something that fits into their, car collection or boat collection or whatever, right? Yeah. So it just adds that extra element on top. It does, and a lot of, like you said, it could be, we've done Aston Martins that go on back of yachts. Wow. We've done, so it's really important for us to understand where the spaces that they're going into as well. And then our tech team, head of engineering, Dave, he always gets involved and speaks to them whilst they're on site. So that was important for the New York install here. Okay, I mean, I'm just looking at, obviously, this one here, and it's not just the sim will then turn up on X day. It's like you say, you've got a team who are coming in to install it, you're running through it with the customer, and I think it's that management of expectations is so important, and it's almost part of the price that maybe people don't see at first glance, right? Yes. Let's go and have a little look at the single seater so you can get an idea of kind of where our journey began. Okay, so the next stop on our tour, we've lost Philip along the way, but we found someone new. So David, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you. Yourself?
Good, yes, not too bad. So I've just decided I'm going to buy 4 of the Phoenix Sims, which is great.
Excellent.
I've also decided I'm going to buy one of these on the way. But we've been learning, obviously, it's not just the sim that you buy. There is the whole process that comes with the ordering, the technical skills, the manufacturing. But what have we kind of got going on here? This is your baby, right?
Kind of. So this is how we started out as a business, really. So we started out as a driver coaching facility, effectively. So using simulation to improve drivers. One thing that we do, and my job here is coaching drivers. Okay. So we do that live as the drivers going round, and post session we look at data, that kind of thing. And it can be anything from literally talking to someone around the track if they're quite new, to finding the last 100th of a second with drivers at a level up to F3 and F2. Oh wow! So we've had drivers at that level here in the past.
I think that's the big thing, right? Is what we've been trying to convey to people is that you know, a lot of people don't want to have to go through all the effort of trying to set up the sim so it's just right for them and all this kind of stuff. And you take a lot of that guesswork out for them, right, and give them a platform to use that. In terms of, you know, the software and using a set of Corsa, but I can see we've got some telemetry here, which is probably a thing that a lot of people are looking for if they're using it for a training tool, right?
Yeah, and the kind of detail that we go into, like I say, when you're trying to find the last hundredth of a second, the telemetry is pretty crucial. I mean, we have here all of the driver inputs that we can look at, and those tend to be the most useful things, but we can go into a lot more detail than that with the outputs that come from the sim. But what's really useful is that we can actually see that live as the driver's going around. So we actually have a telemetry viewer there that we can load a reference lap up onto, and we can literally see as a driver goes through that they're braking a little bit too hard, or maybe not enough, or they're braking too late or too early. And the other thing that's quite useful actually on that in that regard is that the conditions are always the same in the sim. So you know that if you've done a faster lap time on the sim, it's not because the conditions have changed, the tyres are better, someone's got a better engine than you or whatever. You know that the lap time that you've done is pure performance. There's always something that someone can learn on the sim. So I think it's just an incredibly useful facility for driver training in that regard.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to run us through it. I'm excited to see how this works out, and obviously excited to see how the future goes for base.
I'll try and do a few clean laps.
Perfect. And so conceptually, I suppose someone could buy one of these as well if they want it, right?
Yeah, of course they can. Yeah, so we've done installs typically for teams.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, we do have inquiries for wealthy clientele that want to have things in house.
So I've turned up. I've seen the incredible sims. I've picked my colours for my sim. I've been blown away by this. What's the next step in the sales process? Like, what's happening whilst it's being built, I suppose?
Yeah, so we're in constant contact with all of our customers whilst they're in the build process. Even down to, obviously, paintwork's a big thing for us. So we have our standard kind of colour set that people can pick from, but ultimately, as long as we've got a colour code, you can have whatever you like, or a different livery.
And I guess, you know, it's a question probably a lot of people are wondering is, we've seen shipping delays and parts delays for various brands. Are you more affected by something like this or less?
We haven't been so far.
Fingers crossed.
So like you said, because we're made to order, we're not buying in mass. And typically producing in mass either, and that's something that is important to us as well. We want to maintain that element of the business, and it does mean we're not exposed to obviously those issues currently. Anyway, I'm not to say that it won't change, but currently speaking, our times for delivery have not been affected.
Perfect. So what's in?
And so this is our GT sim.
Okay.
So again, one of the questions that we ask when people are wanting to have kind of, if it's a team or whether it's a personal buyer, things that we need to obviously get the nitty gritty out of them is the space in which these are going into. So home sims are still important because it's their footprint anyway, but especially with the bespoke side of things. So again, that's another thing that we're constantly speaking to the customer about, whether the height of the room, whether they're designing a room. So we draw all the CAD drawings up so that they can understand exactly what they need. So with the GT, like we were saying a minute ago, if it was, say, a Lamborghini, the same principle would happen. So you'd have the Lamborghini here. So we've got the Aston Martin, and then when you walk around the front, again, utilising the car in itself, you can pick up the bonnet, and you've got
that's amazing.
Everything underneath for you as well.
I keep coming back to the idea that everyone's a conscious decision, which I think a lot of people take for granted perhaps, is that when you buy something that's kind of pre-packaged or pre-built, you know, you still have to build it yourself, whereas this, it's just everything has a purpose, you know, and even the brakes, right, these are real brakes,
everything.
It's amazing. We've got a couple of sims in front of us. I'm noticing, you know, immediately, obviously the monitor is the first. So with what I'm looking at, I know I can obviously change the paint colour. What else can I change? What can I do?
The main thing that you can change is with your blade. So your blade is kind of, this is our first ever at home kind of build away from the GT and the single seaters. So we've been able to bring a lot internally this year. So this is set up as your pro rig. So you'll see straight away from the steering wheel when you're, you know, if it's a pro driver, this is necessary.
That's it, all the buttons and dials that people are used to.
All the things that you need, all the programming that you're going to want to have.
We all know you can spend a lot of time in a rig, a lot of time practicing, but for someone who's maybe coming into it for the first time, if I'm looking to buy one of these, the comfort, the seats, can you talk to me a bit about the seats? What can we do?
So in terms of the seats, these are all designed by BPS. We spent a lot of time ensuring that ergonomically they're in the right racing position and that they are comfortable. And then we have upgraded to the bigger version for the general public, because everybody comes in all shapes and sizes. And then the difference again with the screens you mentioned, so you have the option now to have the 49-inch or the 57-inch.
Okay.
So size obviously makes a big difference, but you've also got the 49 room for 120 hertz and the 57 240.
Because that was
quite a big.
going to be my next question. Is obviously I know that I need a screen to go racing. I know that I need to be able to see what I'm doing, but there is obviously differences that can make a real difference depending on what you're driving, right?
Yeah.
So Philippa, we were saying obviously I've now decided to buy 4 of these.
Yep.
I've fallen in love with them. I think they're great. Yeah, no problem at all. In terms of software, I know I can run a set of Corsa, but if I'm needing to run this at a venue, how do I look after it and what's the process?
So in terms of running it in a venue, we'll pop over here and I can show you our venue management software. When you've got all your simulators interlinked, this software now can have up to 30 interlinked. So if you were having a massive sim centre or you're running a huge event with lots of sims, you'd only need one platform to be able to do it. And the pods would literally appear here. Okay, nice, and the good thing about that is so easy to use in terms of you could have, say, I'm sure you're much better driving than I am. So we'll put Josh on Pro and I could be on Easy. Yeah. So we could still play in the same race. Okay. But I'll have obviously added extras to help support me. Yours will be taken off.
So I've just finished having a drive in the Phoenix simulator here, and ultimately when I look at the components that have came here, obviously these are market components that you can purchase. You know, the D-Box platforms there, the pedals, the SimuCube wheelbase are all accessible. And yes, you can probably find them cheaper elsewhere and do it yourself, but there's something about this that feels that it's been brought together in a proper way. If this was someone's first experience with sim racing, I think they're going to A, leave very, very happy, and B, very confident in the product that they're using. There will be sim racers who look at this and go, I can do it cheaper. Can they do it better? Arguably, I don't think they can. And I leave today just really insightful about what we've seen, the process, the meticulous detail with all the hand craftsmanship that goes on, and just very excited for the future of sim racing. So Philippa, thank you so much for the tour.
My pleasure.
I feel, obviously we've had the fortune of kind of working with yourselves and being here before, but I think in terms of showing people the journey and what actually goes on behind the scenes for these more higher end premium simulators that, some people aspire to buy, some people are fortunate enough to own. It's been really insightful, and I think helps justify the reason why people like yourself exist.
We've covered everything, but it's just, like you said, it's really good to show what that service is. Yeah. And so it's really important for us to get that out there and get people to understand who we are and where our background is and how we're different as well. So it's great to have had you here so that you can show that to people. Yeah, thanks so much. And like we say, if you're following along with us and you're interested in purchasing a simulator from Base, obviously you know where to find them. They have their website, they have their socials that we'll link to them as well in the description. But I think for anyone who maybe has those reservations about how to purchase something that's turnkey and take all the stress out of it, be sure to kind of reach out to them. It's definitely worth it. Thank you to everyone who's joined us for this episode. We're really excited to see what you think about it. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments and the shares and the likes, and we'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.